Hello? Hi there. Kind of waiting for a few people to join, and I'll start to share what I came here for. I'm sitting outside. It's a beautiful day. It's 5:30 p.m. in Vancouver Island, and it's just an absolutely gorgeous day. Look. Oh, and that's my beautiful dog out there. That's Venus. My boy. Hey, darling. Yeah, it's really quite a beautiful day. Oops. So I thought it would be really nice for us to sit outside and talk about the elements. Better to be in them. Are you inside or outside? Where are you now? Are you in the house? Are you outside? Because of hi there. Hey, Tara. Right? Where are you? Are you inside or outside? Right. What time is it there, Tara? Where are you? So where's everyone? Are you in the house? And where's your house? Where are you at? I'm in BC on Vancouver Island near Nanaimo. 7:30 Kentucky time. Oh, I like Kentucky. I was there. I liked it. I really did like it there. It was a cute place. Do you like living there, Tara? So, we're going to talk about witchcraft. We're going to talk about the elements. We're going to talk about that kind of stuff. You like it there too? Good. Yeah, I thought it was really nice. I actually drove from Ontario to Florida, and we stopped in Kentucky, and I had a really, really nice time there. It was a really sweet place. Hey, from New Zealand. Oh, yeah. What time is it there? What time is it there? Right? What time? What time and where are you? Hi there. Here's the point I'm trying to get to. If you can, go outside. It is beautiful here. What is it like where you're at? Is it nice outside? Right? So for the folks that are in this room, would you do me the biggest favor and just tap on that screen a few times, send some love into the room, and throw this whole live into the algorithm for me? That would be really kind of you. And will help us get a large group going, and we can start talking more and more about the elements. So who in this room is a witch? Who's a witch? Who are witches in this room? Do you consider yourself a wise woman, a wise man? Are you a nature person? Are you environmental? Oh, thank you for the love. You're so sweet. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's kind of you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Right? Oh, yeah, good. So we actually do have some witches in here. Crone, yeah. Hey, Debbie. Yes, me too. Working on being a crone. Right? Good. I'm glad to hear that we have some witches in the room and not just curious people. Although it's good to educate the curious, isn't it? Right? It is good to educate the curious. So what we're going to talk about tonight and what was hoping to establish is a connection with the elements, connection with the earth, connection with nature, and to talk to you about, some of the very simple foundations of being a witch or being a wise person, a nature person. The most simplest foundation is to get in it, to get in nature, to be with the elements and to begin to understand it and to see how it works and how it works within you. Because, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is those elements on a macro level are around us and, playing out every single day. But they're also inside us, playing out every single day. So that is the micro. We really are made in the image of. So we have the elements moving within us as well. I don't know if anybody realizes this, but how do you know if you're a witch? Yeah, that's a good question. Good. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, let me answer that question. How do you know you're a witch? Well, actually, you know what? Before I answer it, how about those in this room? Why don't you answer it? What would you say made you know you were a witch? How do you not know? Oh, thank you, Candy. Thank you. Good afternoon. So seriously, how do you know you're not witch? You're not a witch. I love that question. That was a great question. You're an animal empath. Absolutely. There's a good example of it. When you resonate with different things and gifts that were different. Yeah, that's true. Intuition. Yes, exactly. Learning how to read, playing cards before tarot. So many things. So many things showed you, oh, that's cool that you can do that. So yeah, I guess it's you feel it in your soul. I love that answer. That is a perfect answer. Yes, you do. You feel it in your soul. You're drawn to it. You're pulled to it. I remember when my beginning days, I remember knowing that I was a little bit different than everyone else because they were all playing on the streets on bikes and skateboards and footsies and stuff like that. Where was I? I was sitting in the backyard digging up grubs, taking a good look at grubs and trying to figure out what they were. And there was a lot of times I was in the trees. I can remember the weird things I used to do with nature. I loved it. Esoteric at an early age, right? Feels natural. And you feel at home. That's right. Dreams. Yeah, dreams. Being connected to your dreams is another way. Absolutely, Marilyn. Yep. So a lot of things will bring us to know we're a witch. Your connection to animals, your connection to nature, your connection to your instincts, your dreams. If you find yourself, always wanting to be around nature, I swear that is the first sign. If you find yourself dreaming and getting answers about things and knowing things that other people don't know for some odd reason, there's a good sign of it too. Well, growing up Catholic is a serious deficit. I mean, well, we know why. There's so many reasons why. They didn't just go after the witches, they went after natives. They went after a lot of people. So it really changes, what it changes us if we were in a religious institute such as that one, right? I would be too. Obliterating my sleep paralysis demon this way. What do you mean by that? I have no idea what you mean by that. You were in it too, drawn to healing. Yes, exactly. That's another one. I actually saw my son do something before I was even 2 years old without even being prompted. Went over to a boy whose hand had just cut his finger open, and he put his fingers around the hand and shut his eyes and made this kind of a hum and was certain that when he let go it was going to be completely healed. And it did close up. It did stop bleeding. I was really impressed and realized that my son was there and then a witch himself and a little energy healer. It was awesome to see. Right? Energy, Reiki. Yes, Candy. So, yeah, what makes you know you're a witch? What is it? What do you think, What makes you know? I sit outside and I actually feel healed when I'm sitting outside. When I walk on the earth barefoot, I feel as if the mother is draining anything that doesn't serve my soul and replenishing me at the same time. So once she drains me, she builds me back up. And hugging trees does that to me too. Walks in nature. Those are really important things. Even if you can't walk, even sitting outside in a chair with your feet on the earth is going to help. Swimming. So, on my property, I have beautiful land I can walk on. There's beautiful places around here to walk. I have gardens. I have a swimming pool. I have a hot tub. You know, you can go to the ocean. I can go to the ocean here. I can go to the rivers. But I like to have things that I need around me. And now that I'm a little older, I've realized that I really need it. Fresh air and sun on your face. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that is every day too, not just, once in a while. People might threaten you because of your gift. So this is also your responsibility to be mindful of who you share it with. You don't want to tell everybody where you're at. They're not capable of it, I've heard this before, you can't handle the truth. And it's probably a really good idea to keep that type of truth from people that are hurtful, harmful, unevolved, not awakened, you know. Spies and recorded. What do I mean? Well, I'd keep away from the spies. Psychiatrists, oh, yeah, you never can tell them that. They need more healing than we do. They do. I've actually met a few psychiatrists that one of them actually told me my mother was a black widow. I just went, okay. That was the last time I went. Government is definitely evil. Very corrupt, very selfish, and they're all out for their own good. They try to, pose it in ways that make it look like they're there for us, but they're not. And we know that. We're all beginning to realize how corrupt the government is. But this is exactly why down the road we're going to be doing something about it, right? We are. I'll bet you any money we're going to see a revolution in 2023. I believe that. Your elder says you have a gift. So let's just clear something up. If you believe you have a gift and you feel unequipped to be able to manage it or how to extend it or how to advance it, I suggest strongly that you get involved with someone who does know, like myself. Anyone that you can meet up with around you that you feel a connection to, that you feel have knowledge, wisdom, they're seasoned, they've been around, been there, done that kind of person, you definitely want to align with them. Even if you can't afford a workshop, I guarantee you if you offer yourself as a volunteer to help them create many of the things that they create, they'd welcome you there and accept your help with grace. And in that grace, you'd be offered the teachings as they come, so you wouldn't have to pay. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't align with a teacher, with a priestess. Some people call them gurus. I don't like that name much. But certainly someone who can align and assist you with aligning yourself to your gifts. One of the ways that I personally, energy speaks volumes, absolutely. Well, if you have to figure it out on your own, that I think the person who told you that? Who told you that, Amy? Hey. Right. But who told you had to figure it out all on your own? Because I disagree. We have our sisters and brothers who are of the craft, who are psychics, who that's why we have covens. This is what this group is about. It's the White Wolf Coven. And one of the reasons why I created this group is because there's an awful lot of people who are aligning with certain witchcraft who don't even realize what it is until they get into it. And then they're kind of, obligated to stick it out or obligated to follow that particular pantheon, and they maybe don't feel that. Maybe you aren't truly a Wiccan Alexandrian. Maybe you're more of a Cabot witch, or maybe you're a nature witch. Maybe you're a solitary witch. So, no matter what kind of witchcraft you are following, what I hope to do here is share with you the basics, the fundamentals, the groundwork, the things that'll make you strong enough to be able to choose correctly, the things that'll make you strong enough to use your gifts in the best way you know how. I love healing from the ancestors too. Absolutely. Again, if you wouldn't mind, if you haven't already followed the page, please do. And if you wouldn't mind tapping that screen and sending some love into the room, and of course the algorithm. So let's continue. So let's say, when we're working on psychic vibe, that's a third eye thing. That's really a very individual skill, power, gift, whatever you want to call it. Everyone has it a little bit different. If you want to develop it and you're having trouble developing, and I suggest strongly that you look to tarot. That's why I teach it. That's why I use it on a regular basis. It's like my connection to creators, like my connection to the gods and goddesses. It's like a switchboard. And I feel like when I do readings for other people, I'm doing, I'm a switchboard operator, and I'm offering you the knowing that I hear Spirit offering you. And the only reason I'm doing that is because you're so invested in the situation, you can't see it. It's sort of like being too close to the trees. You're too close to the situation. You can't see for that reason. So sometimes you need another person to take a good look at things for you and sort of reiterate it back at you. And your soul will tell you whether or not that's a true thing or if it feels right or not. Sorry, I'm just reading there. Oh, you're welcome. It's nice to see you, love. Shananis, it's nice to see you, honey. You're welcome. So that's the first thing. I mean, that's why I tell a lot of people, if you want to do psychic development, one of the very first things I would do is learn to read the earth. So when you're outside, for instance, you want to read the symbols, the signs, nature, the way nature speaks. So looking at, a spider web, and where that spider web made its thank you, and where that spider web made its web will be really important. Like the other day I cleaned a bunch of spider web off my grapevine, so it's kind of like telling me, this is how I read it, the spider web is telling me that I am weaving together a vine of like-minded energies, grapes, right? So, and I have been out there in the community and finding my way out there, going to different events and markets and stuff like that, and letting people know who I am. So I am sort of extending myself like a grapevine, like a vine would do, right? And offering my gifts, my grapes, the things that I carry. And so, and that spider web medicine is all about the grandmother and dreams, and helping people find their dreams and catch what they need for their soul. Right? So you got to learn how to read the signs of the earth. You got to learn how to read, that babbling brook. What's it talking to you about? Well, thank you, Shaninas. The blue jay to me is an aggressive bird. It's a chatty little bird, right? And if you watch it, it is quite assertive or aggressive with other birds, and it is territorial. So I would say that blue jay is speaking to you somehow about creating boundaries and about speaking up. How do you think? How do you feel that works? The wind was talking to you today. You bet the wind talks. And sometimes if you listen carefully enough, you'll actually hear words. You will actually hear words. I've heard my voice spoken in the wind. Right, Amy? You feel that too? See that, right? It is the starting place to connect with your intuition. And here's the only problem with connecting with your intuition. If you're a fear-based person and you have a lot of fear-mongering issues, let's say you have, some pretty harsh past experiences that has maybe dumped some PTSD in you, then you may unfortunately be a fear psychic. You sort of get all the fear-based stuff first. And sometimes when you don't have someone to help you organize it, you'll actually look at that as a possibility. Now, so here's the thing: if you have fear problems, you will corrupt your intuition. because that's going to be the first thing that comes in. So you really need to deal with fear-based problems. That would make sense, Amy. That makes sense. So, one of the things you have to do is get connected to the earth first. This is why I was saying that. Get connected to the earth. Start reading the earth. She's a whole lot easier to read, and you can get a really good book that I love this book. It's called Animals Speak. It's from Ted Andrews. It's my absolute most sold book in my store, Earth and Sky Connection. If anyone's in Barrie, they have it there. If you're in Nanaimo, I have it here at my stores, Earth and Sky Connection. But if you can't, get it wherever. Whatever, get it. Ted Andrews has a number of books out. One's called Animal Speak, another one's called Animal Wise, another one is called Nature Wise. Those 3 books, I would say, are super, super important to help you get a fix on what do these things mean, and how you can pull it together. One of the things I taught my son at a very young age. Oh, right on. Well, I'll be in Ontario, Barrie, September 23rd to the 25th doing readings at Earth and Sky Connection. If you want to come out and meet me, if you possibly can. So anyways, back to this. If you have a little child, one of the things you could do with the children in terms of helping develop their magical sense, their intuition, is to lay on the earth, back on the earth, right on the grass, right in the sand, wherever it is, and look up and read the clouds. Look for shapes, look for symbols, look for animals, look for those types of things. And ask your child, seriously, what do you think it means? What do you think it means when you see a bunny rabbit? And they'll say, that we're going to be happy. I said, what do you mean happy? Well, we're going to be happy, Mom. You just missed the joke. I'm like, okay. Skylar said that. But it could also represent fertility. It could represent love and forgiveness. And if you got those books I was telling you about, you might be able to understand it a little bit better as you find it. Like, for instance, here's another one. Let's say you found a tree, a cedar tree I found, with this great big huge belly. I used to call it her belly. And I forget what they call them, burls, I guess. Burls or something like that, they call them. You love sky watching too, me too. I'll be in Barrie, Amy. Barrie, Ontario. So anyways, my cedar tree is out on my old property where I used to live on Penetanguishene Road, just in Oro-Medonte area. And I used to go out on the property, and every time I walked by that tree, I gave her the biggest loving hug. Ooh, that's a bit of a distance. Ooh. Yeah, I gave her the biggest love and hug, and I felt her hug me back. I am serious. And it felt like I was hugging this pregnant mama. And I probably miss her most on that property for moving from that property, because she was I used to go to her whenever I felt sick, or when COVID came, I came to her and I gave her a big hug. And I remember saying, I really want to pray to you I'm asking you to pray for my family and my friends and the people that I love in my community, that COVID doesn't hurt anyone here and doesn't hurt anyone that I know or care about or love. And so far, kind of good. Well, I guess I have to tell the truth about that. My father died with COVID. And the truth is, I didn't love him the way I should have. Or maybe the way I could have, but I didn't know him. So when he died, it didn't hurt me. It didn't make me sad. He was older and he was sick. He was in a senior's home, so I kind of thought it was perfect timing for him to leave. Yeah, me too. Kind of made, it's even sadder knowing that I had a father who was alive who didn't support my life in any way. So I kind of mourned him when I was very young already. Guess I couldn't mourn him again. But so anyways, I used to hug this beautiful tree, and I used to ask for it to help me or heal me whenever. Thank you. Thank you for your understanding. I really appreciate that. It's kind of a weird thing. I feel guilty not crying about it, to be honest with you. Right? Yeah. So, but just to close that, I cried a lot about him, but way back in the day when I sat on the step waiting for him to pick me up, and he didn't. So that was that. That taught me a lot about, who I could trust in life and who I couldn't. And my mom has been my biggest strength. She's also been the biggest pain in my ass, but I love that girl. So I don't know about you, but mothers can be, I guess if they can be the most annoying and the most loving. I don't get to the Oregon coast. It's true, right? Thank you for understanding. It's helpful. I didn't realize I would even talk about that today. That's kind of a weird thing to come out, but I can't tell a lie. So I don't think I was, can you not be in love with a parent but feel compassion? I did feel compassion for him, but not really love. Right? I love my mama. My mama's amazing. But like I said, she can drive me nuts. She can drive me into wanting her to go to Ontario for 5 weeks, which I did, and she's coming home tomorrow. So I'll be looking forward. She said to me when she was in Ontario that she missed me. And I'm like, I'm not so bad after all. She goes, no, you're awesome, Tamara. I'm like, right on. I miss you too, Mom. So she's on her way home. So let's speak about the mother. Let's speak about Mother Earth. Because I'll tell you honestly, that is the most important connection you will ever have, is to Mother Earth. The most important. And also to water. And I see that sort of as Mother Earth's blood. So let's talk about those two things for a minute. So the earth and the water, they exist together where we can walk into them, we can touch them, we can feel them. And they're a really big part of our body. In fact, we are 72% water. 72% water. And 12% earth. That's our bodies. In case you didn't know. So, it's interesting that our body can actually interfere with our flow more than any part of us. And it's only 12%. So one of the things I've been learning about, and I'll tell you honestly, I have a lot of wonderful teachers in the universe that I go to. I spend a lot of time reading. I spend a lot of time watching YouTube. I spend a lot of time with astrology. I spend a lot of time meditating and being with Mother Earth. So she teaches me the most. She's my biggest teacher. She is my most reliable psychic. You're welcome, Candy. She is my most reliable psychic, and she is my healer. So when I go to the earth, when I go for a walk on the earth, I'm not just going for a walk on the earth to go for a walk. I'm going to release the stress of the day. I'm going to gather the energy that I need from the earth to continue on in my day. I take my pets out with me, and they bring me a joy, emotional joy. They bring me laughter. They're so funny. I have 3 cats that I go for a walk with, and a big, huge shepherd, and he is 120 pounds of, he's over there sleeping. Venus, hey, beauty. Meet my friends. They're on the video here. That's my beautiful boy. He is a king shepherd, and he's 120. And then I have these 3 gorgeous cats who, believe it or not, will go for a walk with all of us, and all of us together go for a walk around the property. And it's really quite a nice thing to do, because they do bring me joy. And I watch what they do, and I pay attention to their energy and what they pay attention to. I see their little ears move in such ways I know something is coming. If my dog the other day came outside, and he's standing in the middle of the yard with his nose in the air, and he's smelling something, and I knew he was smelling a bear. I could feel it. He was smelling a bear. Didn't I see later on Facebook, there was a bear in the community really close by. So, you pay attention to your animals, and you're going to know what's going on around you. My cats, for instance, they like to go into this little bush that I showed them at the back of the property. I showed them how to get over to it. And the other day, Rocky come flying out of the bush, and he was booking it coming up to the house. And I saw why. There was 2, yes, you hear the crickets, right? There were 2 deer in in the yard, and they got spooked by the cats, and so they jumped, and then the cats ran like a son of a gun out of the yard. But if it wasn't for that, I may not have seen the cats. I mean the deers. So that was kind of cute. Yes, they do know, don't they? I know. I love the way my animals are. So Mother Nature is your first connection to both the universal forces, the healing of the universe, and the messages of the universe. And like I said, it's 12% of your body, so it's an alignment on an energy level to the earth, to yourself. And then the next one would be your your cat's name is Rocky. Oh my God, that's cool. I was going to call him Salem, but he was a little brat batting on his sister and his brother all the time, so I realized he was a little rocky dude, and he does like to he does like to fight. But as I just described to you, he also gets spooked kind of easily, and he runs. So it's kind of cute. The bravest animal I have, honestly, is my little kitty cat girl, Callie. Yes, we have frogs and crickets here. Isn't it beautiful? And lots of birds. My dog, though, has a retinal degeneration, which has interfered with his ability to properly see. So what he does when he comes from inside to outside, whatever's making noises, he's barking at. So unfortunately, he's hyper responsive, hyperactive to sensations of sound. So often he scares things away just because he likes to bark. But strangely, he doesn't bark at deer. Very interesting. He doesn't bark at them, but he smells the air. But he never barks at them. Very interesting the way he is with his eyesight. So the next thing, and the reason I bring up the idea of earth and the elements here is if you're not connected to the earth properly, your witchcraft won't be. It's really simple stuff. So if you are not nature-wise, if you are not connecting with, and if you're living in the city and you are not going for a walk in the parks, then you are going to have a problem with your magic. You definitely will. Okay, so you really have to have a connection to Mother Earth to make your magic work. And I know a lot of city witches who have, I would say, half their power. And the reason they only have half their power is because they aren't engaging with the Mother as much. See you later, Sheila. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Shananis. Yeah, he's my beauty boy. It was pretty hard not to know that he wasn't going blind at 6 months when every time I stopped, I'd find his head up my ass. Little bugger. But he is such a cutie pie. I love him. He can see a bit at the side of his eyes, and this is what gets him into trouble with things that fly, especially wasps. He loves to go at them, and his poor little nose has got little holes all over it from being bit by them. But that's his thing. He hates wasps, so he goes after them. But he doesn't go after bees. Go figure that. And that is probably because I don't like wasps very much. Although I have my little shield around them, they don't usually bother me. But I love bees. And maybe he's feeling that. Maybe he knows the importance of them. I'm not sure. But certainly he doesn't go after bees. So anyways, let's get back to that. So on your altars, so when you create an altar, you have to have something that is related to the earth. Whether that be flowers or a plant in a pot with dirt or salt, because salt comes from the earth. Whether that be something that you took from the earth, something you found on the earth, something from the earth will be really important. Yes, he does. Would be really important to have. And depending on your belief systems, I say that the plant itself is typically best in the north. Okay, the earth energy is typically best in the north. But if you're native beliefs at all, you may find that it's in the west. Okay, so we'll just say that. Now the next thing that's very, very important is water. No, I'm not, Christine. I'm not doing psychic readings at all today. So this is one of the this is why we're talking about the elements, so that we can get your altars properly set up. But you also have to know that you can't just have an altar and expect all the elements to work alongside you if you don't have a connection directly to them. So it's super important that you hear me out here. I mean, let's suppose you have nothing to put on your altar but an apple. That'll work. That will represent the earth. Oh, that's cool. Earth Haven, that's cool. So the next thing is water. Well, some would say it's air. Air, earth, fire, water. But I'm going to talk about water for the moment. And the reason I'm going to talk about water for the moment is because we are 72% water. Meaning the water is probably the absolute most important thing you could possibly connect with. Water is the absolute most important thing you could connect with. And it would be easy because you are 72% water. Now, one of the things, though, that I have found is if someone doesn't like water, someone doesn't want to drink it, someone doesn't want to swim in it, someone doesn't like putting their feet in it, someone doesn't like taking baths, this tells me they have a direct issue, a problem with emotion. They have a problem with having an abundance of fire. That's the other thing. Because if we drink water, if we swim in water, if we eat foods that are filled with water, like celery and tomatoes and, fruit has the most amount of water in it. And they say that instead of drinking water, you should really eat your water. So you eat it in foods that are watery, like vegetables, and especially fruit. Oh, yes, I did see you connect with a hawk. Did you know hawk is Aries vibration in the Earth astrology? And did you know that it also represents a teacher, a messenger? Yeah, I love hawk. Described your mom to a T. Well, here we go. So the problem with someone who doesn't connect with water is anger. They're going to end up with a lot of anger. And instead of being emotional and sharing their feelings and sharing their tears, they hold their tears. They don't share their feelings unless it's in anger. So you need to connect with water so that your emotional vibration is in balance with, your mental health, to be honest with you. Because if, a lot of people will say, oh, it's okay to go to a witch or to a psychic who does not have her life is in chaos and she's emotionally out there and she has mental health issues. Absolutely not. I do not agree with that. If a witch does not take the time to get her act in gear and pull herself together, she should not be offering her gifts to other people until she's able to offer it to herself. She needs to work on her before she offers it outside of herself. That's the way it goes. Rain. Rain is beautiful. Really important to, touch the rain. That's another thing about water people don't realize is even when you're drinking water, you're supposed to touch it first. In some of the old Asian traditions, they say you don't drink any water from a vessel, you drink it from your hand. So even if it's offered to you in a vessel, they pour it in their hand and drink it from their hand. That way, the vibration of you is aligning with the water, and then you and the water are one. So when the water goes into your body, you actually use it to hydrate the body totally effectively by connecting with the water, by touching it. So going outside and being in the rain is it's like being baptized by the Creator. It's like being baptized by the universe. Interesting, Sabrina, because I'm so glad to hear that I've answered some questions for you there. Right? That's awesome that you're doing that. Hey there, Shelby. Nice to see you, sweetheart. So yeah, this is so just to go back to Sabrina for a second, that those hawks that you're seeing, honey, those are coming when you're emotional, when you're angry, when you're frustrated, mad, scared, because they actually have a message for you. So they're telling you to listen to your soul, listen to your instincts. And one of the things about hawk is it's associated to Aries, and Aries is a very assertive being, very self-assertive being. But when they're in reverse, or when they're in a negative mode, they can be very aggressive and very hurtful and very angry. And so, it doesn't surprise me that you see hawk when you're angry, because it's trying to tell you to mellow out. It's trying to bring you to your center. So the best thing you could do then is to go for a walk. Get out there. Obviously, you're outside when you see the hawk, and that's exactly why you're feeling better. So, because when you're feeling angry, you need the earth to ground it. When you're feeling angry, you need the water to cool it. Right? Oh yeah, blue herrings are all about self-initiative, self-alliance, and self-reliance. So, this is a very good creature to have in your medicine circle for certain. Right? Awesome to hear that. No, cardinals aren't really aggressive, but they do speak to me anyways about putting your ducks in order. Sort of, what are your rules? What are your standards? What are your morals? And, getting them clear. There might be an issue that you have to apply that teaching to for others. Maybe you need to stress your religious or spiritual beliefs. That's what it might mean. So back to the water. So touching the water is really important. So getting in the water, letting the rain touch you, drinking the water touching the water you drink. Bathing is important. Hot tubs are important. Walking in the ocean, walking in the rivers, sitting by a babbling brook. These are opportunities to connect with water. Very important opportunities to connect with water. Having fountains around you, having in your house, in your space, especially if you're in a small space, and this is for you, Shelby, especially if you're in a small space, you might need a fountain to keep the flow of energy moving, especially if you're trying to change something or get something or move something, if you know what I'm trying to say. So you really need to have water energy around you. I have a pool in my yard where I have a pump in it so that it moves the water around. So I get this beautiful energy of water movement in my space. And I have my doors open most of the time, so that energy goes right into the house. The other thing I'll do in the winter is when you run water in different rooms to get that energy of moving water in your house or in your space, especially if you can't put a fountain in there. I am exactly the same, Sine says, exactly. I absolutely have to have lots of baths, lots of water energy. I'm probably in the water, I would say 5 days out of a week I'm in the water, and somehow. The other thing you can do is in the morning, and here's a really beautiful thing to do in the morning, go to a place that has dewy earth and go for a walk. Now you've touched the earth and the water, and it's beautiful. Oh, you're near a river with falls. That's perfect, girlfriend. That's perfect. So let's move on. So the water is super important, right? So we know the earth is really important. You need to connect with that. You need to connect with the water. And when you're putting it on your altar, you want to put water. Normally water in the witchy ways goes in the western area, western doorway, western direction. I typically think that it's best in a copper cup, but you can also have it in a glass or in a chalice of any sort that you may feel a connection to. But preferably for me, I like to connect it directly to earth. So copper or a wooden cup, to me, those would be the best, because copper comes from the earth, right? And the other thing is, when you're going to put water there, why not pull some water from a water source, like a lake or a river or anywhere outside during the moon that you love the most. Like my favorite moon, of course, is the wolf. The wolf moon is one of my favorite moons. Actually, the corn moon is one of my favorite moons too, which is now the harvest moon. That's another one of my favorite moons. Another favorite moon is Samhain, or Halloween is another one of my favorite moons. Absolutely. Those are my three favorite moons, I gotta say. And so what I do typically is I will collect water from my well at that time. And because I am a witch and I have a well, lucky me, if you were at my house, I could give you a cup of well water at that time and it would be infused with the vibration of that particular moon. And then what you have is moon water. And moon water is like holy water or baptismal water. And we use that to consecrate all the things that we put on our altar. We use that to consecrate our jewelry that we might wear. We use that to consecrate our candles, our rocks. We use that to feed our plants that are on our altars. So keep all of those things in mind. And if you don't have access to a well or to a river or to a lake or something like that, then no problem. Take a glass of water out of your house and put it outside under the moon. That easy. Now some people say to me, what about the sun? Well, you could leave your moon water in the sun the next day too. Now you got moon and sun water. Nothing wrong with that. Right? Dreaming about hawk and 2 brown wolves. Interesting. Very interesting. Travis, out of curiosity, do you have some things to work on in yourself, like some serious things? Curious. Just curious. The reason I ask you is 2 brown wolves sometimes represent the 2 dark wolves inside us. There's supposed to be 2 wolves inside us, the good wolf and the dark wolf, the light wolf and the dark wolf, the good wolf and the bad wolf. And usually the darker wolf would represent the bad wolf, and that would mean that we are feeding the wrong wolf if we are feeding the dark wolf, which is our shadow side, our anger side, our selfish side, our greedy side. So if it isn't you, then it's someone close to you, for sure. And the hawk could represent an Aries, as I said earlier, or it could represent someone that, you know who that is inside, that you need to deal with that person and their dark wolves. Coyotes going off, right on. Coyotes, yes, they are the trickster. They are Heyoka. They are the sneakifiers. They are the pack mentality. They play in packs and they fight, and they can be bullies and they can fight in packs too. But mostly I'd say the wolves just the coyotes kind of keep to small animals. And yeah, they can be the funny ones too. Absolutely, Sabrina. They can be very playful too. My son used to have the coyote name in one of the teachings that we were given with his drum and his song. He was given the coyote because he was a bit of a trickster, a bit of a sneakifier. The phase of the moon? Oh yes, I wasn't clear. I'm very sorry, Jess. It would be really important to use a full moon when you're creating moon water. So when we speak about water, I want to say this really again to you. Part of the problem that people, when they're sick, a lot of people actually have their water aspect within them out of balance. Shall I just show you this little cutie? This is Rocky. Rocky, my boy. Hello, handsome. Right? So if you're not well, if you're not healthy, it's not just about not drinking enough water. It's about not having a connection to the water. Eclipse water. Oh, that is a fantastic water. Oh yeah, lucky you. Well, every kind of water is going to have its own energy. Good questions. Eclipse and retrograde water. Well, they're going to hold the water. They're going to hold that energy. They're going to hold the energy of the eclipse. I mean, the eclipse isn't bad, but it does. It's sort of like a once in a while kind of a thing. It's like a unique opportunity. So I don't know. Shelby, are you still here? What do you think about that? What do you think about retrograde water? What do you think about eclipse water? I'd love to hear what my girlfriend thinks. Mercury retrograde is not bad. It is a redo kind of a thing, like retro, redo, reuse, readjust, reevaluate. It's not negative, but it can stir up issues that you have not resolved, reorganized, reconstructed. Hey, Shelby, are you still there? Probably she took off. To hear those beautiful coyotes. So no, I would not say that either the eclipse or the retrograde is negative, but I would say that it's powerful. Abso-freaking-lutely powerful. So how could we, let's just think for a second. Let's look at that. So we get an eclipse. It's a solar eclipse or it's a moon eclipse. I mean a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse. Depending, the solar eclipse would have I would say would have really deep issues. I'm going to say father issues. I don't know where I got that, but I think so because the sun is the father, grandfather's son. So I would say it would help with dealing with father issues. And if it was a lunar eclipse, I would say it helps deal with mother issues. And if you don't want to look at it that way, you could look at it as father issues, be your action, your reaction, your relationships. Those could also be attached to retrograde, right? The lunar could be associated to the feminine side of you. So the male and the female sides would be, feminine would be the lunar, the moon, and the male energy would be the, oh, you're trying to record the pack. I'm sorry to bother you, sweetheart. I was just looking for your opinion because I know you're a wise little witch. By the way, any witches on this page really want to follow an amazing woman. Follow one little witch, Shelby, right there. The one who's trying to record the pack. This woman has some of the most amazing content on TikTok. And I met Shelby almost a year ago and just loved the lady. And I met her on this TikTok app. So it's kind of cool. Could moon water be used in a humidifier? Why not? Thank you. Good to hear. Yes, absolutely. Follow my girl. So I think that when we have to look at what the eclipse is about. So if I were you, I would investigate what that eclipse is about before I'd go forward, and I would make a decision if it would be helpful. And if it was, I would collect it. But one of the things you can do is you can collect all kinds of water, all kinds of times, and label them so you know what they are and you have them available. Let's suppose you want to do a ritual around, reconnecting with a father. You could easily use the eclipse, the solar eclipse water. I would do that. Or you could use a retrograde water to reconnect. Anything to do with retrograde represents all the re's. You can think of a million re's, and that is exactly what we're going to deal with during Mercury retrograde. We're going to return to things that have not been resolved in order for you to reorganize it and reevaluate it. Right? Thank you, my love. Thank you. Your dating water's too good idea. See, your instincts are good. So it's really important to connect with the source of earth and water. So when you put that water on your altar, it is you. It is, don't forget, we're 72% water. So if you've already drank that water, and I would drink that water, I would touch it, I would infuse it with my whole being, right? And use it in every way you possibly can. It's a consecration tool, okay? And you can, even another thing people used to do, I don't know if you know this, but with your food, let's suppose you've tried to really, connect with your food source. A lot of people take the moon waters and they sprinkle it, just a little, put their hand in it and sprinkle it on their waters before they have any of their feasts or anything like that. So like in my tradition, I'm also native. So in a lot of things that I do, I feast. And so in our sacred ceremony, there's always a feast. So we would take the smoke of the smudge and smudge the food to make it all blessed. But you can also take water and sprinkle a little bit here, there, and everywhere, and that is consecrating the food. Your stomach rebelled. Well, how old was the water, Laura? It could have been too old. How did you get it? Where did you get it? You can't drink it unless it's clean water. However, I did read something one day. Yeah, that's a purge for sure, right? I did read something one day that in India there's a couple of really, really unhealthy rivers, and people drink the water from there and they get really super sick. But there's this guru, lovely man, who he decided he wanted to be one with the water, so he fasted for a few days first, and then he drank a little tiny bit of the water, just enough to wet his whistle, and just a little bit, a couple of times a day. And every day for about 4 or 5 days, I can't remember how many days he said he did it for. No, 9 days, that's what it was. And for 9 days, it was 9 days, that's right. And he, at the end, he drank a full cup and he never got sick. So this is a proof that you can align with the water. There is a way to align. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. Please don't go drinking bad water, but I'm just telling you what I learned. You go from there. But as far as I'm concerned, I would make sure the water was from a reputable source before I turned it into moon water and drank it. That's all I can say. But although my friend there, Shelby, could say it could be true, maybe the water was good, and if it was good and that still happened, then I would say, yeah, Shelby's right. You're purging. I love it. There you go. See, your instincts are good. Very good. Awesome. Good. That's good. Spring water's the best. And you read labels all the time. Well, yeah, you write them too, so that's a good thing. I like you, Laura. You're kind of funny. That was funny. Okay, so let's get on to the other couple of elements, okay? So the next element that we want to connect with will be the air. The air, excuse me. And of course, air is really important. We need it to breathe. But the one thing about our bodies is we don't really have to tell our body, hey, breathe that air. Our body is like so willing, we don't have to do anything. It's totally programmed to drink the air. It's totally programmed to breathe the air, right? So, did you know our body is only 6% air? 6% air. Meaning that, and this is the scary thing, especially with COVID. It kind of really made me think about this. If we're only 6% air, and yet it is the air that could kill us, because if we're not getting any air, it's going to kill us. It's very interesting that even a small amount of something can be super important. And if all of those things aren't in some way balanced or in some way usable to us, then it could really hurt us. And farts, yes. Right. Farts are air. You just had to say that, didn't you? You had to bring up farts. You're funny. Yes, farts are air. Air is gas. And those things are super important to us. So, but the other thing too is you put too much farts in the air, and what is that called? And it's not good. They were worried about cows putting too much fart emissions into the air because it, what's it called? Carbon monoxide? Carbon monoxide? Methane. Thank you. Yes, that's the word. Thank you. Exactly. So farts produce methane, and too much farts are not good, right? Yeah. Try doing these kinds of talking to you guys, thinking about what you want to say, and getting it all right in a Mercury retrograde. Not even likely. I'm surprised I'm even talking normally. I was watching somebody on TikTok the other day, or was it today? Yeah, it was today. It was hilarious. She had an avocado in her hand, and she kept saying the wrong name for the avocado. She's looking at the avocado, ready to kill it. She called it a plum at the final thing. And then she went, fuck, avocado. It was hilarious. Mercury retrograde is a pain in the ass. Right? Right? Oh my God. I was teaching last night. I teach tarot on Zoom. And I was teaching last night, and I was teaching about what the energy of Virgo season is all about and how the tarot cards are applicable to that. Now, I bring this up at this time as well because it's an air energy. It's intelligence as well. It's not just our breath, but it's also our thought. And it's, it's what, if we weren't breathing, we wouldn't be able to think either. So air is about intelligence. Air is about, excuse me, our breath. It is about our gases, what comes in, what goes out, the whole bit. Air is so important to fire too. Air is so important to everything. Everything breathes. Everything needs air. Even a flower and everything needs air just to survive, right? So when we look at this, how do you connect with air? Especially if you're asthmatic. Someone brought that up here. How do you connect with air? I think it is through meditation you can connect well with air. You can, and meditation does not have to be done with your legs folded or in a yoga position or laying down. It could be done walking. It could be done swimming. It could be done. It could be done cooking. I mean, it could be done gardening. So it's really about what you bring to the table when you're working on a meditation. So if I am in the garden and I am meditating with the garden at that time, I am one with the earth. I'm one with the garden. If I'm going for a walk, I'm one with nature. Again, that's a meditative energy, right? And I think that a lot of people think that you have to lay down and you have to sit in this yoga position to meditate. You don't. You don't have to. Hey, do me a favor, everyone. Would you just do some tapping that screen again and put some hearts into the room? I would really appreciate that. And then that way we put it back into the algorithm. Thank you for your help. Appreciate that. So I think that when we're connecting with air and we're meditating, we are in our mind's eye connecting with that, with whatever it is we're doing. So we are connecting with our brain. We are connecting with our mental state. We are connecting with our thoughts. We're connecting with our breath. A lot of people I've heard say that when they're breathing correctly, yes, that's right. Wings, feathers, smoke, all of those things do also help us connect with it. Even just touching wings and feathers. Today I was making smudge feathers and thinking about how important air was. Before I was doing. Thank you so much, you guys. That's so nice. Before I was coming to this workshop today, I thought I needed to do my own connecting. So I took some time to work with air and fire and lots of different things I did today to connect with the elements in order to bring my best for you. And so what Shelby just said is those are things that could also be representing air for your altar. So wings and feathers, and also smoke from incense, those types of things. Smoke from your herbs when you're burning them, like in a smudge bowl. Those things are definitely a connection to the earth, to the air. And if we are putting wings and feathers and smoke, and another thing that is connected to air is your thami or your knife. Okay, so this is where you're going to put that energy on your altar. You're going to put it in the east direction. So that is a way to connect with that. When we're looking at birds in the sky, and so many of you were talking about the hawks that you were seeing, and that was really good to know that you were, paying attention to what's going on out there. But also, the last few days we've had smoke from the fires in Hope, BC, come across and be over here on Vancouver Island where I am. And that was, made the whole sky change. It made the moon go orange. I'll show you a picture of it. I'll put it up there. But, paying attention to what's going on in the sky, what the clouds are doing, what the birds are doing. See all those little blackbirds over there? Can you hear them? Can you hear them? Oh, thank you, Kit Kat. Yes, that right when we're talking about it, isn't that amazing? There's got to be 500 or 600 of them making beautiful sounds. And it always reminds me of that blackbird singing in the dead of night. Remember that song by the Beatles? Yeah. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. Remember that? Yeah. And I think that's what you want to do when you're not connected with the air. You want to find a way to fly again. And I think with all of the things that have happened with COVID, we have really lost our footing, and it's really important to get back out there. This is why I thought to talk about all the elements. You remember that song? Right on. Right? So yeah, I think it's really serendipitous that those and coincidental that those creatures just flew across the sky and now are squawking and singing their song right behind me. It's amazing. I love the way that works too. She-Vans. Earth, wind, and fire came to mind, right? Well, we're about to talk about fire. So that is air, and air foods. Don't forget to eat air foods. What are air foods? Celery is an air food too. Foods that have lots of air in them. What else has air? I was trying to figure out that. Birds, right? Eating chickens, eating turkey, eating those types of foods, things that come from the air. Really important. Just like, connecting with water, we should have spoke about that. Eating fish, eating seafood, those types of things that come from the waters. And earth, eating foods that come from the earth. The other thing is, the other element that we need to really connect with is fire. Now, the interesting thing about fire, it's really only a small portion of our being. It's only 4% in our being. In our bodies, and that's the core of us that is warm, right? The core of us that is hot, the passionate side of us, the compassionate side of us, those things that make us angry, things that make us feel warm and cozy. That is only 4% of our being, believe it or not. So fire is, without air, fire doesn't exist. It cannot exist. So air is so important to everything. So, when we try to figure out, what's the most important element, I don't know that we can, because every one of them are connected to the other one, and they're all very important. So if your mental state, for instance, if your mental state is not together, you need to do something about that. Again, you can't be an effective witch using your witchcraft in any good way if any of these elements inside you are out of whack. Now, I'm talking about a lot out of whack. I mean, if they're only a little bit out of the whack, everybody's got something going on, and obviously, nobody's perfect, and you could still do well with your witchcraft. But if you don't have a fix or a handle on your mental capacity, if you don't have intelligence, if you don't have critical thinking, if you don't have those things in place, then you're going to be in trouble. You're not even going to be able to write a spell, for goodness sakes. Okay? So it's really important to have your mental, your air factor, your air element in place. And when we look at the Athami, just before I move on to fire, when we look at the Athami, usually that is a double-edged knife, small knife, We look at that as the ability to cut away what doesn't serve us, to cut away things that cloud the truth. And then, that double-edged sword, the other aspect of it is bringing peace. Because once you've cut away what doesn't serve you, there is a peaceful energy. It's also an assertive energy, and it can be a warrior or warrioress tool. And in a witchcraft way, we use it to cut or to cast a circle. Okay? Okay, good. Right on. Thank you, you guys. You guys are awesome. Standing up for yourself. Absolutely. Sinesa. Absolutely. Standing up for yourself. Speaking out. That is true because, we should speak about air being part of our words as well, because you could not talk if it wasn't for air in your lungs. So yes, I would say words are very much connected to air. So words in your spells, words in your minds, or words in your mouth. Yeah, being able to, hey island girl, being able to use your words in a good way, in a kind way, in a truthful way. So even if you have to tell someone off, you can do it without being too mean about it. You can say your truth and get over it. It's really important to be honest and to be truthful and to be authentic with your words. So yeah, that would be the another aspect of air that would be really super important. But when we talk about fire, remember this: if your words are too fiery, then you've got something wrong. You need to speak without anger, without aggression. And that doesn't mean that you can do it all the time, but I mean, if you're every single day angry, if you're every single day fiery, if you're every single day something, even if it's only 5 minutes of the day, people are going to want to not be around you, right? People don't like that. People don't want to be around people that are angry, are, vicious and always complaining. Think about people that that are always vicious or angry. It's really hard to be around them, isn't it? Right? So this is, I don't even want to get into that. I know some witches that are on Witch Talk actually right now that are constantly putting down other witches, and it is my biggest pet peeve. It pisses the hell out of me. And I can't even watch them because it makes me angry and I don't want to be angry. So I decided that instead of paying attention to them and what they're doing wrong, and instead of telling them they're doing something wrong, I've posted things in my content that support doing your own thing and being in a good mind, and stuff that I'm doing like right now. And I'll cut and paste some of what I'm saying here now because and I'll put it in my content because I think it's important that witchcraft and witches realize that, we all do things a little differently. And if you're sitting back looking for others that are doing wrong, and then you go off and do some content about how they're, they shouldn't be using rosemary for every little thing. Because, somebody said something about if you don't have a herb, use rosemary. It's the go-to. It's the all-time go-to. And then this one witch was just taking such offense to it and acting like she knew. And I could tell that this woman did not have as many years as witchcraft under her belt as she was claiming to have. Eventually, anyways, long story short, she lost her big account and she lost a bunch of witch friends because she was gossiping and nasty talking about them behind their back. Now that's the kind of shit that's karma. And if a witch doesn't realize that you can't go out there and do that kind of shit without expecting it to come back at you, she's no smart witch. Sorry to say. You get back what you put out. Think about that. Make sure you're doing that. If you want good to come after you, you want to put good out there. That is the way it works. You want good people around you, be the good person. You want honest people around you, be honest. You want people who have their act together and are emotionally, pretty sane, be that. This is the fire energy. Exactly, Shelby. Definitely not the heart of a witch. Because we are made of love. Witchcraft is about love. Loving nature. And people are nature. loving one another. It is very important. And to put that fire in a compassionate place into the universe is what you need to be doing for your collective community. When you are angry, that's a different thing. You don't go out there, let's say there's a cause, like there's a lot of women in the U.S. right now that are afraid. Thank you, Sinanis. I really appreciate that. They're really afraid they're afraid because their government's gone crazy. Some of them, what about the abortion laws and stuff like that? I don't want to get all into all of it, but I can tell you this, that when you have anger, you need to collectively pull it together and do something about it. Be assertive. That's how that MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, came about. They were angry, and rightfully, but they did something good with their anger. So that is fire put into context, that if you've got fire going on like that, if you're angry or you're compassionate or you're passionate about something, you need to apply it in a way that is healthy, okay? That a way that is useful, a way that is going to work, is going to, yes, transmute it. Absolutely, lady. That's exactly what you need to do. And it's really important that you use your, here's another good one. What if you have been so deadened by the COVID conditions that we've lived in and you really don't know which way to go? You don't feel compassion. You don't feel passion. You don't feel anger. You don't feel emotion. You don't feel anything. You're stopped, dead in your tracks and don't know which way to go. Well, this is a good time for you to go to the fire. Literally go to a campfire. Go to a bonfire. Do you know how many people I watched awaken as the world opened back up, go to campgrounds and do some, trailer park stuff and get their campgrounds going, get their fires going? What a perfect way to manage it, right? Right, exactly, Shelby. So seriously, I think that, if you are feeling dead inside and not feeling very much compassion, that's because the passion in you or the fire in you has gone out. You need to go back to the earth. You need to start up a new fire. You need to find out what your causes are. You need to get involved in your causes. You need to get warmed up, literally, from the inside out. You really do. You need to heal. And if you're not able to find that resolve or find some warmth from being around a campfire with your friends, then you need to go to a healer who can stir up some of that energy through Reiki or through chakra healing. You need to do something about it. You can't just let it go. You have to do something. You're crafting wands while I listen. That's awesome. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Hey, Kate. Nice to see you, girlfriend. Thanks for the roses. Oh, I love you, girl. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Island Girl. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. So, few more hearts, and we're gonna keep moving on. Please pass some more hearts. Send some more hearts our way. So fire. Now, here's another thing. Some insects, such as wasps, and I'm remembering this because one just came to me and I just went, put my boundary up. One of the things I've noticed about, let's say, that type of an insect, yes, it's in air, but it is full of fire. That little dude is full of fire, very much fire. And it has so much aggression behind it. So how do you deal with a fire energy? Well, putting your hand up, saying out. Put the boundary up right away. Let's say you've got somebody around you who's got a lot of fire energy out of whack and they're coming at you, and this is why your fire is out, because you've got too much fire around you, and you got to put up your hand. You got to put up your hand and stop the energy with air. So what happens is you're putting out, you know how you can put a fire out with a gust of air? That's kind of how you're doing it, right? When you put your hand up, you're throwing air at that fire, and it can help. I think that's where it all came from, Talk to the hand. I don't give a damn. You're hurting. I'm sorry, sweetie. Yeah, that's another thing you can do is you can speak to the gods and the goddesses and the spirits and the ancestors to help you regain your strength and your warmth again. You can do that. One of the places that on the altar where we see the fire is in the south, in the southern area. We put it in the south direction of there. So you would put something there that, you know, maybe your cauldron that you're burning herbs in, or your candles can be put there. Some people put their smudge there, and some people put it in the east as well, depending on how they see that. I like mine in the south. Good to hear. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. Appreciate that. I'm glad I'm able to help you feel a little better, even if it's only a little tiny bit, right? And we all got to stick together. And, you know, this is especially witchcraft, because it's misunderstood by so many. We need to stick together. I just want to remind you that, thank you, Shelby. You're such a sweetheart. One of the things I want to remind you of is this group you're in right now is called the White Wolf Coven. And we are a collective of witches. You do not have to have any skill, just heart, to come here. It's all about learning and sharing, and you're welcome to share your thoughts and feelings too. Oh, look at the hawk. Look. Speaking of hawks, you see it? Do you see it? And you know, it's the teacher. And I was just telling you what I was doing, and the hawk comes by. I love it. See it? It's just such a magical place to be when you're connected to this place inside ourselves and with the earth. So, yeah, I've created this White Wolf Coven to teach, and we all teach. We're all students and we're all teachers. And, you know, I just want to make it available for everyone. And we're going to, in the wintertime, we're going to do it on Zoom. So I get to see you all. Okay? I get to see you all. So I want you to stay connected. And if you want to join, if you actually want to join the White Wolf Coven on Zoom, you'll need to go to my website at tamarawhitewolf.com or earthandskyconnection.com. And you can go to the witchcraft workshop, and it's in there. And join, register, so that we make sure that you get involved. And that'll be through the winter months. We're going to start doing ritual and ceremony and do stuff like that then. Okay? It'll always be Witch Wednesdays, my girl. It'll be Witch Wednesdays from here on. And that's why I'm doing this today. Because I took a little bit time off. The summer was super busy and get my store up and running and all that. So I didn't do any, but I usually do it on Wednesdays. And so here you are. And I started doing it a little bit earlier because a lot of my Ontario followers are having a hard time staying up late. I love you guys, so I did a little bit earlier. Okay. So, what time is it here? It is 6:53, and I only have a few more minutes before I have to do a reading. So I'm just going to finish this up and make myself set up for my online reading. You're welcome. It is 6:53. Well, good. Good to have you here. You're more than welcome. Nice. See what I mean? Yeah, it's getting kind of late for you guys. I get it. So the last and final thing on your altar is the fifth element. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Do you know what the fifth element is? And Shelby, you're not allowed to say. Do you folks know what the fifth element is? Yes! Good job. It's spirit, heart, spirit. What is spirit? Spirit is, it's more than one thing, really. Spirit is your ancestors. Spirit's the gods, the goddesses, the deities. Spirit's the animals that you may connect with. What, honey? Oh, look, that's Merlin. And that's Callie on the side. That's my Callie cat. She's the most vicious of them all. And Merlin, he's the cutest. Well, no, they're all so cute. I don't know. Who's the cutest? Who's the cutest? I can't tell. So as we're talking about animals, don't they all come here? And they're all talking away to both all of us. Venus is talking to the cat. And what are you saying, my love? Watch it. What are you doing, dude? Sit down, honey. Sit down. Sit down here beside Mom. Come. Sit. Sit now. Sit. Sit down, please. All right. So spirit usually goes in the middle. Unless you have a pentagram on your table and you set it up that way, spirit usually is at the very top of the pentagram. And but if not, if you just have it done in the 4 quarters, then you want to put spirit in the middle. And this is where I put fur. I usually have a different type of fur depending on which season I am working with, and put fur down. The other thing, you can put there pictures of your grandmothers and grandfathers and anybody who's passed that you love, that you've missed. You can put them on your altar as well. And I'm going to show you my altar, although it's not all lit up. I will show you. This is my reading room. The whole room is an altar. You probably will notice that. I'll just give you a little look. Oh, here's something that I wear when I do ritual work. This is one of my necklaces of amber and jet and crystals. I made that. Anyways, moving along. See all the different things that in here? Those are all my gods and goddesses, deities. See? And over there, I have that beautiful tarot card created for me by one of my students and friend, and that is my life path. I know, honey, I know you must be missing your things. I can't imagine. Can't imagine, honestly. Thank you, Sylvie. And here's my altar. Well, this is the one of my working altars. I do have a few of them. But here's one, just so you get an idea. And I'll show you. So there's the ancestors, that's spirit. And as you can see, there's fur down there. Then that one there, that's rabbit. And then there's moon water in there, the cauldron, the candle, the athami. See, mine's a little different. Mine's more native. And different animals that I feel a connection to. And salt. See the salt? There you go. I know they've been in storage for a long time. I have lived that way. I've had a number of fires, Shelby, and I have had all my things in storage, actually more than once, and without all my things for a long, long time, and it was very, very hard. And this is where I do my readings. And so it's another little altar. And this is where I teach. That's why that's there. And here's another altar over here. I have a lot of altars. So there you go, my lovelies. It was so wonderful to connect with you all. I really wish that I could see you and hear your voices. And that's why we want to do the Zoom thing. I got bells too, baby. A lot of reasons why. And we'll talk about all that again. So I hope you've enjoyed your time here with me today. And I certainly enjoyed sharing with you. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you all. I have to do a couple of readings now. And you have a wonderful evening, everyone. Sending lots of love. And remember, you got to connect with all of the elements for you to be a really good, effective witch. And once you do that, then you can set up your altar. And then you can use it. Much love to you too, girlfriend. Love you. Bye, everyone. Yes, please do. Take care. Bye, Dina. Bye, Sabrina. Bye, Kit Kat. Bye, Dee. Bye, Sinesa. Bye, Shelby. Bye, Sylvie. Bye, Kate. Bye, Jody. Bye, Laura. Bye, everybody. Have a great night. Bye, Earth Haven. Yeah, I love my room. Take care, everyone. Bye now.